All right. Welcome to Tina and Karen Do the Tube. I am Karen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tina in the house.
Yes. Tina joins us kind of sandwiched between two major events coming up. You went to your sister's wedding last night, right?
2 days ago, but
2 days
yeah,
ago.
fairly recently.
Oh yeah, you worked last night. Okay, so I thought there was one reason because we're doing this podcast a day later than normal. So how was your sister's wedding? How was that?
I think the official term she would call it, or she's called it, is a micro wedding, uh,
I
due
guess it
to
would
the
have to be, right?
pandemic.
Yeah.
It was fun. We did it at her fiance's, now husband's, half sister's place on Cougar Mountain in Issaquah. They had just bought a house like 6 months ago. It's like a 6 acre place with a nice view of Mount Bachelor on a clear day. We got through the ceremony just fine, and then it started hailing.
All right.
So
And the other,
uh,
yeah, and the other big thing that's happening is you're going to Hawaii tomorrow, right?
tomorrow morning, yeah, first time.
Oh man, I really fucking, in hindsight, I really missed out on this because you invited me to go along with you, and
Hey, it's all good, you know. It's not like I'll be going to all the islands, so and
yeah,
this since it's only be a week, we can plan on some other trip
I
or
think we
something
should.
like that.
And just for the record, so does your company send you on different like corporate retreats or vacations every year?
No, no, no.
No, no, I thought you went to Las Vegas though a couple years ago, and you invited me to go along with you there.
Yeah, we did 2 times, and then my boss got tired of doing it. He's like, "This is a waste of money," even though we could
Oh
spend all
my
our
god.
points on it, and it wouldn't be a problem. But
Oh, you accumulate like mileage, air mileage
yeah, I mean, I
frequent
think we
flyer
got like
miles.
over 1 million points, but he likes to fly first class, so
Oh man, whatever. Remember that one time where we like snuck into first class? Well, not snuck in. They incorrectly placed us in first class.
yeah, we were getting ready. We had our meal picked out and had our champagne, and
we had champagne, complimentary champagne, and then they gave us a look as they escorted us back to coach and said like, "How dare you? Like, how could you think you
it
could get
was
away
an
with it?"
innocent.
But they're the ones who placed us there. Like, we were just gonna like, well, let's milk this as long as we can. Yes.
I got actually upgraded to first class on one of my other trips. It's rather nice.
Yeah. So traveling in the time of COVID is an interesting thing. How you
Yeah,
can't?
for sure. To
I don't know.
Hawaii, there's all these restrictions, even between the islands
Well,
too.
just also just the fact that you don't know if you really can plan anything. Like, do you know for it? Like, for instance, like if I were to plan a trip to Canada this summer, do I know I'm going to be able to go? Not really.
No, absolutely not.
Exactly. So you're limited in what you can do, but there's plenty to see and do here, and I really got to start planning out trips this year. But okay, we're getting a little further into this. Point is, we have a great podcast today. We have a couple different discussion topics for y'all. Nothing too hard hitting. It's going to be non-radical views on mostly mundane news, kind of Tina and Karen podcast. But Tina and Karen and I will be discussing whether we should send women to Mars.
Instead of
Exclusively
men.
women. Not just instead of men, exclusively women. Then we also got for you a teacher who has caught masturbating in his Zoom classroom. And finally, we will wrap up with a story about a married couple who didn't know you had to have sex to have a baby. That's going to be an interesting one indeed. But let's start us off with a bit of news from this. This is from Scientific America, but it's the headline is "We should send women on a Mars mission," as in I'm assuming just women. So, in 1961, John F. Kennedy famously said he wanted to put a man on the moon. But if JFK were around today, he might say, "Let's put a woman on Mars." Not as a nod to diversity or inclusion, but because a Mars mission will be the longest and most mentally taxing of any mission astronauts ever faced. And research is telling us that women might be better suited, both biologically and psychologically, for long-distance space travel. What do you think about that? First impressions.
I think it puts a whole new spin on, the men are from Mars and women are from Venus
Oh,
trope.
let's say that you just wanted to do this whole discussion because of
No,
that. That was the only reason you wanted to talk about this subject, is so you could
I
put in that
wish I
joke.
just
Yeah,
came up with that actually.
that's good though. But what do
I
you think?
actually
So are
got
women
this.
more equipped to? So before we get in more to the details about why women are more equipped, so what do you think about the idea that we would be sending just women?
I had never even thought about it really. I mean, since I've been growing up, there's all been all this talk about when are we going to be on Mars? When is the first person going to walk on Mars?
Well, it should be
And
Elon Musk. Let's be honest. If anyone should be the first man on Mars, it should be him.
he's the one touting it. He's the one that, kind of has revolutionized the rocket industry. And
You know, Elon Musk is technically the richest African American.
is he really?
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone else.
Well, he's an African American.
Maybe my only other guess would be who's
P.
that
Diddy?
rapper?
P. Diddy. Or Ja Rule. No, wait, not
Akon.
Ja Rule. Akon? No, not Akon. Isn't Beyonce's husband like a billionaire?
Oh,
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. He's from New York or Jersey.
Kanye is
somewhere.
a billionaire too.
About to be less of a billionaire.
Oh, yeah, that's actually something that's pretty spicy news. But so like,
But back on track. I actually got this this article from Reddit about this woman who was complaining about her partner and his friend, and they were playing. I guess they would always kind of make like misogynistic comments, and finally she just got really tired about it and complained online.
oh yeah, that's
Um,
what you should do when people are being mean to you on the internet. Is resort to the internet to fix your problems.
exactly. Get
I'm-
everyone,
Is anyone nice on the internet? Is that a thing?
There's a lot of funny people.
Yeah, tons of funny people. I think trolling is hilarious.
Um,
But
But
okay,
there was actually a specific comment that's really like set her off, and I guess the guys were saying they were playing a zombie apocalypse game, and they said something like, without women's like need to reproduce, like how are they gonna like help survive? What's their best survival like capabilities? And then
what? Yeah. Okay, so what is the best survival capability of women?
And so this article was further in the comments, but like some of the top comments were saying like, in a zombie apocalypse, like you you probably would it's about survival, not the most calories you need to, be a jacked bodybuilder, like since women can survive on less calories usually.
Well, that doesn't make them an asset. That makes them less of a liability. But you are bringing up the
For
point.
survival.
Okay, so the first advantage, so the article goes on to talk about, you're right. The first advantage women have is that they typically consume less calories than men. They require, on average, 20 to 25% fewer calories to maintain their weight. The more a spaceship carries, the more fuel it takes to propel a rocket past the stratosphere and onto the red planet. Today, it costs about $10,000 per pound to propel something into space. So even the smallest discrepancy in weight makes a significant difference. Does it really, though? I mean, how long is the mission to Mars? It's supposed to be like 6 months or something?
I think 2 years.
No. Well,
Yeah,
that's
it
the
says that
round
later
trip.
in the
Yeah,
article,
yes.
I think.
So how long does it take to get to Mars?
I don't know. Let's Google it.
I'm
here.
doing it.
I'm pretty sure this is
It's so about 7 months. Yes. So a round trip mission would be at minimum
2 years.
14. No. 14 months. That's barely over
Oh.
a year. But that is
Oh.
a year's worth of food you need to stock.
That's true.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I mean, there is the argument like, you can have tiny men go on it. Space jockeys.
Okay. So yes, the fact that there would be a much better cost in terms of okay, I haven't actually done the calculations of how much food you're gonna have to take for a 14-month journey, compared to the average man to the average woman. But they're also the article goes on. This is where it gets a little more. I have no problem with that statement that women take fewer calories to maintain their weight. That's very on the nose accurate. But then the article goes on to say women also have a psychological edge. Astronauts going to Mars will have to live together in confined spaces for up to 3 years, forcing to deal with the challenges of interacting and sometimes clashing personalities. There's really nowhere to go if things get tense. Additionally, the communication delay back to Houston will reach up to 20 minutes, creating a 40-minute time delay in a two-way conversation. In a study conducted by NASA in 2014, time delays impact both team performance and emotional well-being. Even just a 50-second time delay frustrated the crew members, and real-time communication improved morale. Okay. Do you think women have better communication skills than men?
I would say they have maybe less direct communication skills, but I guess when women talk, they tend to try to form an understanding a lot better.
Do you think that women do well? Okay, so this is my own personal perspective, and it doesn't speak to the kind of highly trained women that are working for NASA, but women typically don't do well working as a team. They typically clash. There's a lot of in-group fighting, and this is like actually I'm almost quoting a lot of the different women I talk to is that they all prefer male roommates to female roommates because there's less drama with the guys. Now that once again that doesn't speak to the actual highly trained women of NASA, but in general, do you think that men get along better than guys get along? Do you think groups of guys get along better or groups of women?
I feel I would have to say like groups of guys tend to get along better. Maybe since there's an actual mission involved, that might be a more incentive to get along better. But
so, do you think that in this this mission, this Mars mission, that tensions will run high and guys are going to be too short with one another, or women might be more patient? Because that's more.
they might be if they have to just eat vegetables.
Is that we're going to bring up the whole white veganism thing?
No, that wasn't a segue into that.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Tina sent me an article at the last minute saying, "Hey, maybe you want to discuss this," because it was sort of a funny headline. It was all about white veganism, the racist implications of veganism.
What would your ideal crew to Mars be?
2 men, 2 women.
Ooh, you don't think there's any jealousy, that would go on?
Fuck no, I just want to reproduce. I want like a whole colony on Mars, and I need men and women to do that. I don't have much thoughts about Mars. My only thoughts on Mars is we should send Elon Musk. He fucking deserves it. If there's a man out there who more deserving of being the first man on Mars, I don't know who it is. He's done far more to advance space flight technology than anyone else in our generation, and I think he actually has improved the standard of living for more people than we even realize.
Keanu Reeves?
No, like
Keanu Reeves goes to Mars.
No, there's a lot of so there's people who are deserving based on their overall personality. There's plenty of good people out there. I'm specifically talking on Elon Musk because he seems to be the kind of guy who has been driven by space. I don't think Keanu Reeves has spent one iota of time thinking about space.
No, probably.
So
he's a gearhead, from my understanding.
So yeah, I don't care what the crew for them. Is there a certain number of people who are going to be on the crew?
I imagine because of the, how much it takes to feed someone and the weight property. I imagine it can't be more than a handful of people at most. I'm trying to think. I just as far as my overall perspective on like Mars, like the more and more I keep hearing about like a Mars colony, the less feasible it sounds. Just due to the sheer amount of radiation, and I guess it would, for me to be convinced, I'd have to see some legitimate way to like where we'd be able to terraform it, or at least if we wanted to colonize it.
All right. About the radiation, because the article goes on to talk about the other benefits women might have in the atmosphere of Mars versus men.
But, that was an interesting one.
Yeah, so bombardment with cosmic rays can cause cancer, vision impairment, and heart disease, but it also potentially affects the astronauts' brains. I work on a research team led by Susanna Rosie, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, at the University of California, that looks at how simulated GCR can trigger, GCR is galactic cosmic rays, can trigger changes in the brain cells of mice, which can lead to behavioral or cognitive changes. We have found that exposure leads to increased anxiety, impaired memory, and diminished social interaction in male mice, but not females. The reason female mice are protected from these changes seem to lie in their micrologia. Fuck science. The brain's resident immune cells. Micrologia have a resting state and an active state, and they become activated when there's some sort of insult to the brain. Micrologia activation can cause inflammation in the surrounding brain tissue. For some reason, exposure to space radiation activates these cells in male mice only and can cause synapse loss in the hippocampus, the brain structure that mediates memory formation. Microglia in female mice may not be responsive to galactic cosmic rays or could have a neuroprotective effect instead. Thoughts?
There was that study with the two twin space astronauts where one twin spent a year in space and compared to one on the ground, and they wanted to compare their psychological profiles afterwards, and they said I think like the space one suffered from like more episodes of depression after his space trip than the other twin did.
Do you think
some other kind of neurological effects?
Do you think that like the problem with that is like is that have to do with the galactic cosmic rays or the isolation? Yeah.
I imagine. I mean, it was a scientific study, so I imagine they had some control aspects, but I'd have to find the exact article to really dive into.
Yeah, when you're in space, try to avoid the radiation. That's what they tell them. Just do it.
I mean, do you
put your? Well, I mean, what do we know about would it be good? A really good study for that would be let's put the twin brother on Earth into like a isolation chamber. That would be a true study because I mean, like the isolation of space. I think isolation in general leads to depression, right? So, if we wanted a true study, let's put them in Earth versus space. You're isolated both ways. So that would be a true study.
I found the article here about the twins.
Oh, interesting. Okay, let's hear it.
Interesting find concerning what some call another interesting find concerned what some call the space gene after they studied the two astronauts arriving back. This happened in 2017, and they said 93% of the twins' genes returned back to normal after landing, but 7% had some longer-term changes in the genes related to his immune system, DNA repair, bone formation networks. Yeah. But he said his telomeres actually increased in length after a certain amount of time in space. Too.
If they ever have commercial flights to space within your price range, would you want to go?
That would be the key within my price range. Oh hell yeah, I would go.
You would go? What if it becomes like what if it becomes like sort of mundane, like taking a plane trip? Would you still want to go? No, I'm serious. Like
it's really crowded, and you don't have a window seat.
I think commercial space flights will be a thing in our lifetime. I really do.
Oh, for sure, I do.
Yeah, I know, but like like the novelty will run its course because like people aren't amazed by going on a plane these days. Like you basically watch a couple of movies on your flight to New York, and then you take a nap, and you fucking take a shit, and you're there. It's not that impressive. Now, I remember my first time on a plane was really, really enthralling. You were with me the first time I was on a plane.
Yeah.
It was when we went from JFK back to SeaTac. I was.
You kept staring at me across the aisle and like shaking your head and everything.
I was enamored by it. It was amazing. But now I've taken so many flights because of my situation with my wife. I couldn't care less about going on a plane. It's not a big thing to me anymore. I mean,
pretty fast.
I actually, believe it or not, people seem to hate travel days, but I actually kind of find I like it. There's something about the travel experience that I enjoy now. I don't know if it's because I associate that with seeing my wife back when we were distanced, or just the fact that like there's certain like once you clock out from your job and you just basically you're and you know you're on the flight the next day, from that moment until like the moment you go back to work or at least the travel day, it's a whole adventure. I like it.
It's just the freedom, kind of.
Well, I don't know if it's freedom. You're stuck in an airport, but it's the idea. I think it's the adventure and
Not the responsibility of work and what that kind of entails.
it might just be that. It could just be the fact that I'm not working. I'm on vacation and I'm going to a new place. But it's sort of it's
Kind of frees your mind, up.
it's sort of just like it's the hurdle, the idea that like travel day can be exhausting for people, and it's something of a now it's nothing like the old like pioneer days where they spent like half their lifetime trying to get to someplace. But there's a certain goal in mind, and you have this quest to get there, and it could be a long time. I've slept in airports, slept overnight on planes. It's not fun, but it's just like, and you end up like
Better than work.
yeah, but it's also better that like when you land in your destination at like 2 a.m. and you got to get off the plane even though you're half asleep, and then you kind of got to get to your next gate and you got to stay there till 6 a.m. And most people would hear this and they would think that sounds miserable, and it is, but it's miserable with a purpose, and you could drink.
Oh, I love traveling too. Mostly just to try and get away, but usually, when I'm traveling, I'm contacted several times by work in order to fix something,
Oh, that sounds awful.
which isn't a big deal, but
I think
it,
that when you clock out, you should be clocked out.
you think they try not to bother me, but they still end up contacting me multiple times anyways. Back to the space thing and the novelty of it, or like commercial space traveling. I think there's one detail that would make it more alluring than regular commercial travel, and that's the zero G aspect.
But do you think they'll let you in, like, get to float around, or do you think they're going to require you to be in your seat?
I mean, there's no risk of like falling or anything in zero G. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you didn't have zero G, then why go to space?
I certainly think for our generation, if commercial space flights became, like, readily available to people like you and me, just working class, middle class people, then there'd be a great draw to go. But one generation further, it's going to be the novelty will wear off, and space will just be like air travel. So, but I definitely I would go. If it was a ticket for $2,000, I'd go. If for $5,000,
that's your limit, 2,000.
No. I think it would be 5,000. I think
5,000. Okay.
Not much more than that. Like if we're just talking about going into space and everyone's gonna go into space one day, I don't know. But, anyways, any other thoughts we have on this? Because the funny thing is, this whole article sets up all the arguments that women would be a good choice, mostly the calories and some other with the cosmic rays. But it doesn't go into any benefit, because there's always two sides of the story, right? And there could be a lot of psychological or biological advantages to men being the ones doing the travel.
I guess, yeah, they don't really paint any positive aspects on the other side.
Yeah. And there's different communication styles. Men are actually far more direct. I think if there's an objective, I think men can get it done more than women, to be honest.
I think my ideal space crew, now that I'm thinking about it, would be 1 man and 3 women.
Why? Why?
3
Is it?
particularly hot women.
Oh my God! This is not you're not trying to plan a mission to Mars. You're just setting up a porno or setting up a fantasy story.
Ideally with larger mammaries, in space.
God.
So, with the zero G aspect.
You're just setting up a porno. That's all we're talking about.
Why is there not a space porno like
There's
this? I guess I haven't looked it up yet.
There's plenty of space. Just go on to Pornhub right now and type in like space porno. You'll find something. Pornhub's
kind of lost its quality.
Well, that's a topic for another day. All right. Let's move on. So this comes from the Daily News, New York Daily News. Teacher masturbating in Zoom classroom and thought he was logged out when class was over. He pretty
That's pretty embarrassing.
Yes. Well, I mean, embarrassing doesn't even cover it. So here it goes. He was pretty sure he had no class, but he isn't a pervert. That's the claim being made by teaching assistant Mark Shack, who was caught on video masturbating for 13 seconds after a video lesson for Shady Grove Middle School. God, I fucking love that name. School 8th graders in Maryland suburb in Washington, D.C. Shady Grove. That is about as fucking pederast a name as I can think of, to be honest. Shady.
I was shipped to a place called Shady Lane one time.
No one should ever name their place Shady. Doesn't seem like it invites any sort of other aesthetic.
Unless it was in the middle of the desert, right?
Then Shade would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You would want it then? So I thought I was logged out when class was over, Shaq told Bethesda magazine. I had no clue the Zoom was still on. Shaq was reportedly put on administrative leave while the incident is being investigated. He insists that what happened Monday was not intentional and said that would be crazy behavior otherwise. I hope so. He said he'd worked with the school district for 21 years and wouldn't jeopardize his career by doing something as inappropriate as performing a sex act on camera. How does this happen?
Surprisingly, this isn't the first time this has happened with all the new Zoom calls and sessions.
I know, but I just feel like, I feel like there's better ways to do that.
You know my problem with this story?
Is it not the middle school teacher who's like masturbating in front of his students? Because that's sort of my problem with it.
The classic Norm Macdonald premise. It wasn't the hypocrisy; it was the rape.
I know it was the other way.
My problem, I guess my pet peeve with the thing is, why do these people? Because this isn't the first time where someone's gotten caught doing this. Is why do they immediately go to masturbating right after their Zoom call meeting?
Well, this is way worse than this, honestly, because with the Zoom call meeting, I get what you're saying, but he was teaching a class. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine you're teaching kids and your first thought when class is over is, God, I'm horny. Like, I feel like
I didn't think about it like that.
Well, I would think about it like that. Oh my God.
See, a middle school teacher, elementary, what grade level did it say?
It was 8th grade.
Okay, damn it.
What, the 6th graders are the ones that really...
I was hoping maybe high school, but...
I don't think that makes it better. Well,
not
maybe
much better,
slightly, like slightly, because you can almost argue somewhat developed youth is natural to be aroused by, even if it's morally wrong. But like 8th graders, we're talking like 13 years old, like fucked up.
Do you think these people are like compulsive masturbators?
I don't know. And why?
I mean, I get it. Probably being a teacher is probably pretty stressful. I don't see myself having. I'm personally am not a compulsive masturbator.
That's a shocking admission, especially since I gave you a gift once and that didn't turn out to be the case.
I guess all masturbation has some compulsory aspect, but
I think that
after, stressful situations.
Can you call it compulsory or compulsion when it's basically natural biology to want to reproduce, want to I know that's not reproducing, but you know what I mean.
What comes first, the thought or the action?
Yeah. I can't call that too. It's like a compulsion feels like it's almost like it's. I don't know. It's not biologically ingrained into everyone, so it seems like it has to be something unique to the person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a healthy sex drive is nothing wrong, but there is something wrong with someone who signs out of a classroom and decides now's a good time to rub one off.
It does seem particularly wrong because the other case I had heard was the New Yorker writer Jeffrey Toobin. He did it after some sort of conference meeting, and then he just dropped trow. And
New York writer like New York Times?
The New Yorker.
Okay. I have less opinions about the New Yorker. I don't know anything about it.
It's kind of just an opinion magazine,
I
really.
did read a New York Times article the other day that was fucking shocking. I'll maybe send it to you afterwards. But it basically told people not to think. I'm not joking. It literally said like an argument against critical thinking. Like, hey, like I know things seem weird, but if you think about it, like it just seems weirder. So just try not to think about it. It's telling people to be docile while fucked up stuff is happening around them. Like it tells it like leave the critical thinking for us and just do as you're told. It's a fucked up article, and I will gladly send it to you.
Yeah, I'll definitely give it a read. There is some weirder aspect about this Mark Scheck guy.
Oh, is it gonna get worse?
Well, not only is like he a teacher, but apparently he also runs an entertainment company for children called Pirate Magic.
Captain Sillybones.
Captain Sillybones.
It just had to be bones, didn't it? And there's
parties and magic shows.
There's so much about this that just seems really bad. The fact that the town is named Shady Grove, the fact that he has a pirate name by Captain Sillybones, and he has wholesome talents.
My guess is he's probably single too. I don't see anywhere in the article that says that. Not that makes it any better.
Well, what's his age? Does it give his age anywhere?
He said he worked for the district for 21 years, so he's definitely on the older side.
He's at least 21. Okay. All right. You know what? Do you think this guy should get fired?
I don't know. Like the people came out and said they had no prior incidences, and all like people and previous students said that they had nothing but a good impression of him. So so far,
if you got okay, so you have a good record at your job. If you had got caught masturbating in front of a customer, what do you think would happen with you? Legitimate question. I mean, okay, you had a good record up until that point, and then
I'm just trying to think in what situation at my work that would even be possible.
Well, I mean, you work some days you work alone, right?
Yeah.
You have a computer in the back room, right?
Yeah.
This isn't a stretch. This is just like, let's say a very hot biddy. I'm going to use that word because I can for the moment. Comes in and you just can't help yourself. Now, you can't do anything towards her because that would be sexual assault. But she arouses something into you. You have to go to the back room. You watch a little of that, Pornhub, and you do it in the back. And someone walks in. I would like to speak with
someone. Where's customer service?
Yeah, where is it?
Oh
my God. And you don't stop. In fact,
you look directly in the eyes.
You give eye contact and you start going slower. There's something about the slow jerk that's really uncomfortable.
The slow jerk.
Oh, yes. It's very, very uncomfortable.
I would be very embarrassed, and I would not say anything and hope that the word doesn't get out.
Okay, but should you be fired in that scenario?
Probably, yeah. I would.
All right. Okay, so this Scheck guy,
I don't think I could look that person in the eye again.
Hopefully not. I mean,
yeah,
but it's a random customer. So okay, this captain.
I meant like my coworkers or anyone.
Okay, so this Captain Sillybones and his wholesome content gets caught masturbating on camera in front of 8th graders. I'm sorry. I mean, this might be a little harsh. Even if he hadn't had a record of any sort of such behavior, like an offense like that is egregious.
Mm-hmm.
I know it doesn't seem very
especially around children.
Exactly. I know it doesn't sound very forgiving of me, but like, okay, there's certain offenses that are like, there's a lot of things that will be like a mark in your record, and if you do anything like it again, you'll be let go. And then there's some things that are just like one time's enough.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, the New Yorker fired Tubin, and that was just a meeting between colleagues.
Yeah. Okay. So he got fired, and that was in front of adults.
Mm-hmm.
This is in front of kids. I think we should have a far, especially with educators, we should have a far higher standard for them.
Yeah, I mean, even though he has a pretty clean record, and the most clean it sounds like, and I don't even know if he can continue his other side business, Pirate Magic, as Captain Sillybones.
Yeah, I think
I think
His
if he
side
really
gig
wants
as
to
a
come back,
pirate magician
maybe
is
that I don't
ruined. What?
see why he shouldn't. I don't think the school really should bring him back. But if both parties still wanted to, I don't think it's particularly wrong or unethical.
Well, I think if you're a parent in this sort of situation, you'd want him gone.
Hmm.
I think that might cause more problem
I
for the
probably
school.
would too.
Yeah.
Does he deserve a chance? Okay, so yeah, I think if they don't somehow split ways, they at least should split ways. I think it just seems inevitable in my mind. Should he be allowed to continue to teach maybe somewhere else?
That's a better question. Yeah, I don't have a
Mm,
problem with that. I would say like I don't think he'd have a easy chance at finding a new job with that on his record.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he should be barred from the profession altogether. But I do think that he, I mean, like for such a acts like that can't go unpunished. That's the most important.
Even if it was an accident.
Even if it was an accident, but that is the most important thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think with his, I hope he. I don't know. I don't have any thoughts about like. I don't think that you can sort of like be a upstanding school and sort of let that thing go. Like, hey, this is a slap on the wrist sort of thing. No, it deserves a real punishment. I don't think that barring him from his profession is just. I think that's too harsh. So I don't think you like take away his teaching license or anything like that. He should definitely
have the opportunity to at least try to find work somewhere else.
unless we have clear evidence that he was masturbating to the students. And then that's going, yeah, then that's like
Probably what the investigation is geared towards.
Yeah.
That
it
begs the question.
it is a bizarre thing, right? Though, I mean, why would that turn him on? I just don't understand.
Like I said, I think he was just had a particularly bad, stressful class, and he just.
Is that what people do when they're stressed? I usually maybe have a drink or play a game, or I don't immediately go to jerk off. This seems a little much.
I don't think people are very open about it.
Maybe.
If they do.
Do you do that? I'm not going to ask on that on the air, but I will, and you don't have to answer. Do you do that to relieve stress? No.
Usually do it out of boredom.
You know what?
Or concern. I'm like.
I've been there too.
To get into personal details, I stopped doing that for a couple years, I think, maybe 2 or 3 years.
You stopped just altogether?
Altogether, yeah.
No way. I don't believe that for a second.
What's that?
I don't believe that for a second.
I did, yeah.
What? What?
I'll tell you what brought me back, though.
I don't care what brought you back. What caused you to stop?
I don't know. I just it was pretty much between, I think, my 22, 23, maybe 24 fourth year or age, and I don't know. I was just really focused on work and
no. I mean, this is a much bigger conversation. I don't know if we even need to go on to the next story, because I don't think anyone could be focused on work so much that they just lose the impulse altogether.
I did, yeah. I remember some wet dreams in between the times, and
Okay. I'm not angry that you stopped, for the record. I'm just more shocked.
I don't know. I think I was thinking I had been looking at porn maybe and masturbating a little too much before then. And so I was like, I just need a break. And then I kind of around my 22nd year, I guess I got a little bit of the religious kick again, maybe just being away from home. So that probably added to it. And then that faded within a few months. But then I just continued to not do it. I don't know.
As for the whole realizing you've done it too much, I can sympathize with that a bit, because when I was younger, there were days and the boredom. It's really the boredom. I can remember weekends where I had nothing planned, and that's never good when you're young.
Idle hands lead to.
I mean, I can remember just 3 or 4 times, and you have this whole when you do it that often. And you have nothing else to do, like you're not productive in any other way, there's a whole new kind of shame glaze that comes over your body. It's not good. And I think that's what like young men need, real hobbies and real productive time. Because I swear to God, I feel like the future is just going to be weed smoking, video game, and masturbation. That's the future.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a more
That's a nihilist
brave
point of
new
view.
world
Yeah, no,
dystopia.
it is. And I think that's the most likely case for the future, sadly.
I'll tell you what brought me back though. I read some article that says like if it pretty much stated for like men, if you don't use it, you lose it, and that was enough to.
It was a pragmatic decision you made.
It was a pragmatic. I'm like, I don't want to lose my guy, and
That's interesting. I don't.
yeah, it had
What
to do
kind
with like
what study was that,
just
or what paper was that?
I can't remember. It's so long ago now. Like 7-8 years ago.
Yeah, I thought that whole if you don't use it, you lose it thing was a joke.
No, it regularly having an erection what helps keep your circulation and your I guess your uh the flaccidity of your penis more erect as you age. It also means like you probably are less prone to what's that where you need the blue pill, the Viagra, the
Okay.
erectile problems later on in life. So
So
and I had no problem getting back into it.
so much thoughts right now. It is.
Didn't think we'd go in that turn.
No, I didn't think we were going in that direction, but I'm glad we did. Okay. Last story. We have Okay, this is from the Sun. It's a news outlet from the UK. So this one's interesting. Okay, so headline: the sex education married couple had no clue they needed to have sex to have a baby, and they needed lessons from a nurse. This is, oh my goodness, this is peculiar. So
so I hadn't heard of this article.
Oh, I didn't even actually
so I got
send-
a bunch of questions.
okay, I didn't actually send it to you, so I'm gonna send it to you now over Skype so you can have it, so you can
It's
open it
just
up.
amazing. This is in the U.S.
No, I think this is in the UK. Well, maybe.
Still. Okay.
Yes, it's in the UK. So here's the head. So here's the story. Rachel Hearson, 59, has been working as a midwife, health visitor, and nurse for the last 40 years. And now she is sharing some of her bizarre encounters while visiting family homes in her new book, Handle with Care: Confessions of an NHS Health Visitor. Rachel revealed how she was forced to teach the husband and wife about the logistics of sex after realizing they had no idea about their own biology. Oh my God. Okay, before we get into it further, first impressions. What do you think drove this couple to not understand sex means baby?
Oh man, I think they probably grew up in a very religious home, maybe.
That's my first thoughts too.
I think there has to be some outside force like pressuring or like not sheltering them from some the knowledge about sex and babies that I can't see how it would just come up on that or with just a natural upbringing.
Do you remember hearing of this story a couple years ago, but about a married couple who said they were going to abstain from sex even after marriage because they wanted to feel more closer to Christ?
Usually that's the reason why religious people get married.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know of any religious script that's actually against sex after marriage. If there is a line in the Bible that tells people it's wrong to have sex even in marriage, then I don't know it. Because that was when I read that. I remember there was a couple. There was memes about this couple because they said they were so devoted to Jesus that they were going to abstain from sex after marriage. Like, why? There's no reason. There's no.
I mean, I could see it from maybe like I don't know, just religious perspective,
No.
being more devoted to Christ.
Well, no. There, like I point out, there's no actual script in the Bible that prohibits sex after marriage. So you're not.
No. There's no line that I know of that would, but I think as far as like trying to be more devoted and with your relationship with you know, your higher deity.
Yeah, I don't. That one infuriated me a little bit. I wanted to grab those people and say like, why?
What? I
It's
feel
just,
like that's a troublesome path and would just lead him to more temptation.
I feel like it would. Yeah, I think you'd be in. Yeah, exactly. I think you're more likely to cheat, and that certainly is frowned upon in the church. But
Yeah.
it's,
Your one get out of jail free card and
yeah,
you're not even using it.
yeah. And the one thing that bothered me was the fact that the guy was smiling in the headline photo, like because I just want to believe that guy's like really dead inside and he's only going along with this because it was suggested to him because there's no way. But back into this headline. So Rachel, that was the NHS worker, revealed how she was forced to teach the husband and wife. But no, sorry, I said that. Previously speaking on Mirror, she explained they had been married for some years, but children hadn't come along. The GP deduced that they didn't know how to make babies, and it was my job to ensure they did. They genuinely thought babies arrived as a result of simply being married and had no clue. Teaching someone about sex is quite a responsibility, but within a couple of visits, the pair couldn't keep their hands off each other. Oh my God, they didn't even know about sex. No way. I can't even believe that. That's something that comes natural to people, though. It just
Seems kind of wholesome. They fell in love with each other and got married before they even knew about how to have a kid.
Well, no, not even just about having kids, but not knowing what sex was.
I wonder how surprised they were after they got married and didn't have a baby.
You're telling me people do this all the time? That's amazing. It's just crazy. Rachel's extensive career has seen her witness all sorts of bizarre sexual behavior, including one visit where a man masturbated in front of her. Oh my God.
Wait, say that again. Say that line one more time.
So Rachel, once again, the NHS nurse, extensive career has seen her witness all sorts of bizarre sexual behavior, including one visit where a man masturbated in front of her.
Okay.
The next,
but this tops that.
Yeah. Well, the next paragraph's a little dark. I'm going to skip that one. Actually, the most of the article is actually talking about her experiences, not actually about this couple.
Damn it! So we're gonna have to deduce what's going on with these people.
We don't. I mean, yeah, it doesn't actually go into the details as to why they just thought that. But I have to imagine religion has something to do with it. Yeah. So the top comment is, "Wait, I need to know."
Oh really?
Yeah, it's like they don't.
Hold on here.
Yeah, the comments. Yeah, they're all just frustrated at the fact with the article not expanding on the story. It is a kind of gotcha headline.
Clickbait,
exactly, and I fell for it. But I mean, I have no reason to dismiss what she said is not true. It's just I wish I knew more.
Okay, let me give you a scenario.
All right.
Let's say you had this kid in a plane crash, survives the plane crash, and it's so pretty young, like 6 years old. Figures out how to live on an island sustainably by himself. And then he finally meets a woman. Do you think he'd know or get to know what sex was if she didn't tell him?
I think he would.
Over a course of time?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's one of those. We have a few things that are biologically programmed into us. Self-preservation is one of them. You'll do anything to avoid cold or heat or something that will cause you death. You'll also eat without being taught to eat. You'll eat.
You'll breathe, with just naturally.
Yeah, so I think that reproducing fucking for the layperson, is as innate to human biology as eating or breathing or moving. So if I think like
The
yeah,
act of reproducing or reproducing?
well, what's the difference?
Well, like gay men perform the act of reproducing a lot, but they
Okay.
don't actually reproduce.
Fine. Okay, the act of reproducing, the desire to
Okay.
reproduce. I don't know. I think that's innate in us. So if like same scenario, like I take a guy and I put him in a padding room his whole life. He's never seen a woman before, and I think that like with I have no see this thing. I have no scientific study to cite, but with 95 to 99% certainty, I would say that if he saw a woman, he knew exactly what to do.
You remember when you got your first boner?
Yeah, Oh, I do. We want to reminisce about this sort of stuff. What's yours?
Think I was in church or
Oh my god! Wait, first boner or first masturbation?
I remember my first one too.
Well, which one we talking about?
Boner.
I don't remember my first boner. The earliest memories I have of a boner. You're right. They're always in the most uncomfortable, awkward situations. It was at a baseball game.
Oh, okay.
So that's my earliest memory of having a boner. And I didn't know it was inappropriate to have one, but my teammates apparently did.
Oh, did they make fun of you?
Yes. They looked at me and like laughed. And I didn't know what they were laughing about because I didn't see it. I think I did anything wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was just sitting in on church, so I don't think anyone noticed, but it was very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Like, what the hell is going on? I don't think I had heard of sex and talked about, sex, but I didn't exactly know what was happening.
I'll tell you my story. I think for Christmas one year when I was like 12 or 11, I don't remember exactly. My uncle or someone got me like a Seahawks cheerleader calendar. And I remember opening it up and not fully understanding why I didn't know I was supposed to appreciate it. And they all made the joke. I was like, I think he's still a little too young to appreciate that. Ha 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 ha. But I appreciated it. I knew I wanted to look at it. I really was happy looking at it. I didn't know why I wanted to look at it, but I liked looking at it.
Yeah. It's kind of weird how you just kind of I'm trying to get to the natural aspect of it, of how it just kind of naturally happens.
I think that reproduction is something that's innate to every human being. It's something we know how to do, just like no one needs to teach us how to eat. We know how to eat. We know we should eat.
To any normal human being. I'm sure there's someone out there that's,
For sure. Of course, there's always exceptions to the rule. There's maybe someone who might be like brain dead or something. I don't know. Yeah. But
even then, I've heard of even like paralyzed people, it doesn't always, it's not always just the hip down.
they can get it up?
Yep.
No way. Really?
I've heard it, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that gives me kind of hope that one day I can become incredibly lazy and still be able to fuck. Yeah. I just want to be better.
Closer to the brave new world.
I just want... It's coming, man. I swear to God. It's at this point, it's the best scenario possible, I think.
Oh, it's the best of the worst best of the worst likely outcomes.
I'm a pessimist by nature, and the more and more I see the world go to shit, I have to think of like the best possible outcome, because there is no good outcome. I want to be clear. That time is well dead and gone. There's no good outcome. I'm just trying to look for the best possible bad outcome. And the best possible bad outcome is everyone is basically complacent with basically staying at home all day, watching porn, smoking weed, and fucking a sex robot.
How can we hack our I don't know, like our sense of adventure?
That's the thing. I think it was Dostoevsky who actually said that if we ever do achieve the utopia, the first thing we'll do is burn it down. If we ever do achieve
capitalism, buy another, build another.
Well, no, that's actually the socialist. He talked about the socialist utopia when everyone's needs are met. Well, we have no more material needs. Everyone's fully clothed, fully fed, fully like living in a home or whatever, uh, we'll burn it down because we're mostly beasts of burden. We crave adventure. We crave challenges. We can't have a docile lifestyle where everything is given to us.
Which is makes it so confusing why it's like a Brave New World kind of scenario seems almost very likely where we just lose our kind of strive,
I know. And I think that there's a lot of things that they'll do to sort of like make us docile. I don't want us to become docile, for the record. That's the only that's a value we attribute to farm animals, livestock, not human beings. That's a
Yeah.
harmless person is not a good person.
A harmless person is not a good person.
No.
Okay.
I've always liked that quote. Like a good person isn't a harmless person. A good person is a dangerous person who has their danger under control.
Okay. I mean, it because they're doing something that will try to ultimately make things for the better rather than
Yes,
kind of live in complacency.
Exactly. The harmless person won't actually do anything. A dangerous person is capable of doing great evil or great good, because they're actually ambitious and they're provocative and they don't settle. They have drive, and these are actually good things. The problem is which direction are they going to head? Because I think if not fully socialized, they will basically, well, obviously just look towards self-interest. They'll just do whatever they can in the moment, hedonism or nihilism or whatever. But if given the right motives, they can do great good.
This is why we need to go to Mars, right?
That's right.
Even if it makes no sense, why not try?
No, Mars makes sense. I hate that because I actually have an argument with one of my coworkers, like who says like we fucking need to cut NASA's budget. I mean, maybe that's not what it is, but like he's like I hate all these like billionaires sending rockets into space because Jeff Bezos is going to be doing the same thing very soon. It's like no, space exploration is the logical next step, and it's an important step.
Yeah, if we want to become a type 2 civilization, I'm not even sure if we're a type 1 civilization.
No, I think we're definitely a type 1. I know what you're talking about. I don't know the actual classifications just yet, but I know what you're talking about. And the idea that we basically, colonize outer space is important because we can't.
Or just our like local region.
Yeah. We can't stay on Earth forever, and because there are limited resources, I don't think we're anywhere close towards using up all of our resources, but we will one day find ourselves where we're limited and we have to expand. We have to go beyond.
I think that's something we can all agree on.
Yeah, and if we don't do the sort of the legwork right now, then mankind will fall one day.
I want us to explore Venus more because even though I think Mars is a much more habitable planet, I think Venus actually has more likelihood of finding extraterrestrial life.
Really? Venus?
Yeah, I do. There's even been some evidence recently that came up that suggested there's a possibility of a form of microbe.
I'm gonna look this up because I haven't looked it up in a while. But
it's like a certain like phosphorus.
The average surface temperature of Venus is 847 degrees Fahrenheit. This is hot enough to melt.
Including the pressure. But it's the clouds. Yeah. It's in the clouds.
Yes, this is hot enough to melt lead. I remember they actually have landed. They have landed.
Russians,
the Russians.
Did.
They actually have. We actually have photos of the surface of Venus, which is cool. I think that's awesome. And then the pressure and the heat destroyed the vessel completely.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain appeal to Venus though because it's such a harsh environment. I always thought it'd be cool if we actually found an alien there because it'd be like that's badass that you survived.
I mean, find them near the thermological vents with no oxygen deep in the water, and it's certainly possible. And they theorize like more than likely if Venus did have life, it probably didn't evolve independently on Venus. It may have been seeded from Earth at some point.
Mm-hmm.
but still.
I hate how that like NASA will float the idea that there's life on Mars every couple years or so, just to sort of entice the population into funding their expeditions. When I think we've known for a good amount of time that Mars is it's not habitable for life as it stands right now. There is no possibility of life.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain scientist, James Lockhart. Is that it? Might be that.
Yeah.
No. Oh, well, I don't know. There's a certain it's James something, but he actually has already proven the possibility of life on Mars is impossible.
Yeah, I mean, we just sent a rover there just within the last week or so,
Yeah,
to explore, a riverbed or something like that.
yeah.
Or
Was it Perseverance or was this one Curiosity? Curiosity was the last one. This is Perseverance.
maybe.
When do we send Enterprise?
Hopefully in my lifetime.
I had a talk with a Trekkie, my Trekkie friend just earlier today, and we talked about Discovery versus the Orville.
Oh, the Orville.
Yeah, and even he's a big lifelong Trekkie. He says Discovery sucks, Orville's great.
I've heard that too from my coworker. Zach really loves that show.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say,
I thought it was going to be more comedic at first, and it does have its comedic aspects, but it's also just a really good show from what he's told me.
Yeah, they have good stories, and he says the problem with Discovery is like Star Trek used to just be a bunch of bottle episodes, and maybe there was some arc to the whole series, but they were all self-contained stories. And now all Discovery is just one long arc, and it's not as interesting.
Have you ever heard the show The Expanse?
I have heard of the show, but I've never seen it.
I've watched a few episodes within the first season, but I always tail off for whatever reason. But it's supposed to be one of the, and it feels like from what I've seen in the first few episodes, the best interpretation of like Earth Type 2 civilization within the next 1,000 years or so. That could be possible. They talk about like gravity torture from people on like, that were mining on asteroids.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be interested in seeing that. I do like sci-fi. Right now, I don't know we're watching a couple things. Me and my wife.
We're watching The Thrones.
Yeah, we stopped again. So
it's a long series.
No. The last time, we were going to watch it to its completion last year when we first moved in together, but we had to stop at season 7 because we both know that season 7 and 8 are terrible. And now we got to season 7 again, and we stopped for the same reason.
You need more. You do need to give it more time before you watch those seasons.
It's tough. I mean, there's good elements to them, but overall, you just know they're terrible. They just don't live up to what the first 5. Definitely the first 5 seasons, and the 6 seasons is sort of okay. It just doesn't live up to what it was.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have for this week.
Exploration, it's a good topic before I go on my week-long exploration.
I want to hear everything about Hawaii, so maybe that's the whole topic of next week. And we do have to get another guest on our podcast soon.
We might be doing the cast from Hawaii next Saturday.
That'd be great. Are you going to be in Hawaii next Saturday?
Yep, I leave Saturday night, I believe. So we might have to do it earlier in the day, but it's possible.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that. That'd be good. Your impressions of Hawaii. That could be the whole podcast.
Okay.
Unless something major happens.
I would like that too to happen, but
What? Major?
we'll see where it goes.
Okay. A slow news day is a good news day.
A very mostly mundane news day.
Yes, all right. So for Tina and Karen do the tube, I am Karen.
And this is Tina.
All right. Stay safe, everyone, and stay hydrated. We love y'all.
Ba-ba-boom.
I'm glad we ended on that.